connecting your colleagues to what they care about, addressing what the world needs, utilizing their strengths, talents, what they enjoy, and creating a social initiative that allows for an environment where they can excel are progressive steps to providing a more meaningful experience at work. It's fabulous. However, if it is not coupled with the proper structure, leadership, or collaboration skills, the sizzle may fizzle out in no time. So how to structure and collaborate in your social initiative will be discussed further along the way. So stay with us. If you stick with this series, you'll continue to focus on conscious leadership and how it dives deeper into why nobody wants to work and how those same skills will assist in making a collective social impact. But for now, let's stay the course to sustainability. Can't help think but reflect on a rafting trip down a rapidless river when considering this principle. Before our departure on this rafting trip, the guide instructed us, if you fall out of the boat and get stuck underneath it, don't panic. Easier said than done. But he continued and he said, walk your hands along the bottom of the raft and continue in one direction. Don't lose patience and start turning around in different directions. You will start going in circles, leaving you stuck under the boat. Great advice, actually, for many situations. When making a conscious contribution, it is most efficient to continue in one direction. In other words, to make it consistent and focused. This will offer the most significant impact on the beneficiary and your team's gratification. However, there are times we can get distracted by the latest opportunity and doing so dilute the contribution's impact. Continuing in one direction means not deviating from your social mission. The YouMeWe Foundation learned the wisdom of the rafting guide firsthand. Okay, my foundation. Although we were focused on raising funds to provide a university scholarships, there was a new opportunity in town that friends were supporting, building a women's center at a university. I wanted in. Under the raft I went, not having the wisdom of my guide. I was stuck going around and around in circles, exasperated. After 2 years, the ground for that center still wasn't broken. The charity I funneled my fundraising funds to stepped in. They redirected the monies to scholarships for deserving women, which, by the way, was what my foundation actually does, is provide scholarships for postgraduate education. So having the courage to expand is admirable, but first a contribution needs to be entrenched before you deviate. Without a strong foothold into contributing to what and whom you care about, your compassion connection, you will sabotage your efforts, minimizing your gratification and the beneficiary benefit. There are several strategies to consciously connect and commit to a cause that you may want to consider as you create a more meaningful workplace. Say that 5 times fast. Okay, let's get started and dive in. Strategies to consciously connect and commit to a cause. Number 1, select a complementary cause. What is an issue that your business is experiencing? For example, finding talent. Perhaps you can interview new immigrants from war-torn countries. What challenge is your community facing that your business serves? Perhaps you're a retailer and you have clothes from last season. Okay, a few seasons before. Let's face it, most of us can't afford to keep up on all the latest trends. Oh, I wish I could try. You can host a fashion show where attendees can buy an outfit for a woman entering back into the workforce. Creating an experience is a wonderful way to address an issue that will be sustainable because your customers are engaged in using their dollars to support it. Contribute to an issue your industry perpetuates. For example, paper producer or retailer. Perhaps plant trees in the meetings industry. Support professionals against human trafficking. Matter of fact, I have the link in the blog for this one. Another thing to consider is Converge causes that the team cares about. Because the YouMeWe Foundation provides scholarships for post-secondary education in Africa, I interviewed my team about a local initiative that would appeal to them. They decided on literacy. I collaborated with Frontier College, which promotes literacy for underserved communities. I wanted to stay aligned with my foundation's mandate of women empowerment. So we created an initiative where a portion of my business funds mobilized young women in post-secondary education. As a result, students gained exposure to Indigenous communities and immigrants, providing increased consciousness and leadership skills. So to enhance the experience for my team and the students we supported, we didn't, but we could have, years later, lesson learned, invited them to a conference we hosted where the mentorship opportunity would have been endless. But these are the ideas you start thinking about, how to bring different people's ideas together to create something they all can get behind. The third thing you want to consider is value and mission alignment. This is key. In the previous example, literacy worked for my organization because my company at the time focused exclusively on training influential communications. Our mission was to develop leadership, sales, presentation skills, and internal communication skills, to create impactful conversations to establish symbiotic partnerships. So literacy was perfect, extremely well aligned. The fourth thing is commit to the cause. In addition to the opening anecdote, once you land on a company cause, bake it into your business by incorporating it into your mission and business plan. This will assist with focusing on all your activities, marketing efforts, and hiring practices, such as drawing well-aligned valued colleagues to your organization. At the outset, articulate an impact statement will guide all your strategic efforts. An impact statement focuses on the effect you are going to generate. It incorporates what you will achieve, the outcome, for whom, the beneficiary, and by when, time frame. The more specific the statement, the more directed your efforts. Fifth, communicate the cause. Decide, do, impact, and share. The more your team is committed to the cause, understands it, and owns it, the more they will share it. As a matter of fact, I was on a website today diving into a cause, and who did I see on the homepage? One of my dearest friends. I had no idea she was an advocate for this cause. It should be part of your brand story when you make a social impact. Something you amplify at every opportunity. If you want a real change for the marginalized, vulnerable, underrepresented, or the environment, then share what action you and your team are taking and the impact you and your team are making. Craft a message that your colleagues can share with pride. These are not values to be hung on a wall for people to walk by. We know what I'm talking about here. But an aspiration to be prideful and shared. It is an extension of your value proposition amplified in every conversation with suppliers, clients, customers, associations, and yes, friends. People will be inspired and perhaps even become clients. So share what, why, and how you support social initiatives so you can collaboratively grow your impact. Supplier selection, number 6. How committed are you to your social initiative? How valued aligned do you want your suppliers to be? The more obvious response is to hire, buy from, or engage the supplier that is already incorporating practices aligned with your values. For example, creating a diverse and inclusive culture. However, there is an argument to engage suppliers whose values don't align. Perhaps by engaging not wholly in line values, there's an opportunity to educate and inspire and, well, frankly, expose them to a more inclusive way to conduct business. As a result, creating a ripple effect. Perhaps this approach may be one of those measures of your social impact. So decide if you want your suppliers' values to align before working with them, or do you see it as an opportunity to expose them to your values? For example, if you are being conscious of carbon emissions and your supplier is not environmentally aligned, do you engage with them or see it as an opportunity to educate? In an interview with Natalie Lowe, an environmentalist and meeting planner, she chose the latter. Check out her interview in the link on the blog. Many businesses, however, will want to engage suppliers whose values align. You'll have to do some due diligence to ask questions and expose how they conduct business so that you are not operating blindly. Ideally, you don't want to engage a supplier that is contradictory to your cause. For example, you're promoting diverse entrepreneurship, and they hire all volunteers as interns during the summer. What that actually does is limit diversity, as many diverse people may not be able to afford to volunteer for the summer, as they need to make money and an income to pay for their degree. Through questions, you'll increase your consciousness and be able to assess the right partners. And lastly, measure what matters. Measurement can seem cumbersome, especially if your sole motivation is to engage your colleagues. However, keeping track of your impact will further make your organization sticky. Your team will acknowledge the authenticity of the collective contribution and continue to connect to its increased impact. It will be a huge motivator. Write a theory of transformation, identifying the approach needed to achieve desired goals. A theory of transformation is a gauge to measure the progress between strategies implemented, the performance expected, and the results realized. Developing a logical model that will identify progress on your social impact journey will feel rewarding to be involved at each of the milestones. Nothing like celebrating with your team the collaborative contribution. When your team wants to make their contribution count, well, they work. There are many elements to think about. More often than not, it starts with a conversation about who or what they connect to, and if and how they want to make that connection count. I know you're saying, hey, Suzanne, what can we do now to make our team's contribution count? Well, for starters, engage your team in a conversation about your collective values. When you founded your business, you likely identified values that you wanted at the core. However, with time and employee input, you may find those values have evolved, or you may find people's personal values have overtaken your organizational values. Often happens, people's personal values will usually be their default, whether you want it to be or not. So gaining buy-in to the set of values will help define where and how you want to make your contribution count. A key strategy to connect people to where they work and contribute. YouMeWe Social Impact Group, we grow your social impact consciously and sustainably. So join the YouMeWe movement and like, share, comment, and subscribe to YouMeWe Infusion. Until next time, make your contribution count for you, your organization, and your community. And don't forget, always love to have your questions about growing your social impact. So please, comment below, ask a question there, or just hit reply. Until next time. Subscribe to YouMeWe Infusion to receive the entire Nobody Wants to Work series and receive a free download, 7 strategies to create a culture of inclusion and belonging. Visit youmewe.ca resources to subscribe and get your free download.